Close. So many tabs.
Sound check.
Oh, it's very late.
That's okay.
able to turn off the camera.
Okay. I have the straps at the state.
You're gonna see us. We're gonna somewhere.
I need to swap out the battery. I left my.
Yeah, you know, it used to like make up kids right. A lot of different schools.
Don't need it.
They got a big setup.
Everybody would like to see your face.
What's it look like so far? What do you think?
Pretty good.
What do you guys think? You like that?
Yeah, it's perfect.
I think they used yours. Yeah, they started off with blue cobalt, and then that battery died. Something. But anyway, I got more straps and stuff because she got the flags. And then she was trying to get my thought was just to put 2 straps on the back of each one and hopefully slide it in there and they'll pump something up just to use it. You know what I mean? It was my whole worst case scenario. You gotta do some Velcros on the bottoms just to keep it falling out.
I just don't like seeing it. So I'm gonna have to look at the equipment and highlight the girls and anyway.
To me, so here's what I need.
I do.
And again, I have shit together, but I've got one more rising till the ring down. But you used that one extra. That's fine.
That's what I mean.
That's why you have
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this evening to talk about Crowd Tours Missouri Coral Society Tour 2024 to Italy. It is going to be an incredible trip that we've been working on for over a year now, since the beginning stages, and we're excited to officially commit to the trip and make this happen. We have a ton of people signed up, way more than we expected, which is awesome. It's going to be probably over 80 people total on this trip, which is pretty exciting. Both students, chaperones, directors, and Missouri Coral Society members will be traveling all together for 10 days in Italy. I have an agenda that you see on the board. I'm not going to go through every single detail of every event we're planning on doing on the trip, because that is in your brochure and you can read and research a lot of those events, because we'd be here for a couple hours if I talked about every possible detail. And some of that, now that it is officially planned, we're going, we have the people, we're going to start making payments. Now some of those details could change just a tiny bit, so we can actually start booking. But on day 1, Tony, if you go to the next tab and just kind of pull up the brochure, and then we can go through that. Yeah, just kind of scroll down, and it'll take us kind of through each day, and it's super readable right there.
Super real.
Super readable. I'll give you some of the highlights. There we go. So on day 1, we, and by we I mean Dr. Flannery and I, we are the one who bought all the plane tickets, not our travel company, to save money, because if we did the travel company, it'll be more expensive. So we are lucky enough to be flying out of Omaha. We thought it was in Minneapolis, but it's Omaha. We have a 7 o'clock flight from Omaha with 2 connections arriving in Venice the next day. The exciting thing about this is we're going to get to Venice at 9:25 in the morning. So that means we're going to get basically a whole extra day than we planned, because our original proposal, we're going to get there until 5 or 6 in the evening. So now we have a whole other day in Italy, which is pretty exciting. So we'll land in Venice, and then day 2 in Venice, we have not really a clue what we're going to do, because we weren't supposed to get there until 6. We were supposed to get there, go to the hotel, and go to bed. But now we have a whole other day, but it'll be lunch, exploring churches, and exploring Venice, which will be awesome. And then day 3 is our planned day in Venice, and we'll do the gondola ride, which we've all seen, sightseeing. We'll get to visit St. Mark's Basilica, and we'll get to be a mass choir at one of the churches in Venice, which will be our first performance. And anytime I say sightseeing, exploring, like lunch on your own, things like that, I want to start by saying your children will not be wandering around Italy by themselves exploring, I promise. They will always be with a chaperone in groups, walking around a limited area. So there's a lot of lunches and afternoon times where we're scheduled to explore. And that will be exploring in groups with supervision, I promise. Go have fun, kids. Day 4, we start to travel. We go from Venice to Montecatini, and on the way we stop in Pisa to view the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and then we get to the Montecatini Terme, which is a big market with more sightseeing things and shops and food, and get to explore some more. And then day 5, and also throughout this whole presentation, Dr. Flannery has been to Italy, and he might chime in and talk a little bit more about things that he's seen there or things that I'm forgetting, etc. So he'll interrupt me probably sometimes, which is okay. Day 5, Montecatini, and now we're traveling to Florence. So we'll do a lot of walking tours, and we'll see Michelangelo's artwork, including the statue of David. And the next day, we go more sightseeing tours and exploration of Siena. Siena that day, and then we start the final journey to Rome, where we'll spend the last couple of days. On the way there, we'll stop in Assisi and sing at the St. Francis Basilica, which will be pretty incredible. And then we will explore Rome that night when we get there. And then the next day, we have a lot more guided tours, Trevi Fountain, Colosseum, Pantheon, and a lot more. And then we'll have a formal concert at a church in Rome to determine what church that is. But for the trip, we'll sing at 3 masses at 3 different churches, and then we'll have 2 formal concerts where it'll be like advertised that we are there, and open to the public, also in churches. And then day 9, the last day, a full day in there, we'll be in Rome and going to the Vatican, Sistine Chapel, museums, and then probably the highlight of the whole trip is Mass choir at St. Peter's Basilica, which is pretty incredible and a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I know everyone will never forget. And then day 10 is traveling back. Only one connection on the way back. We leave at 10 o'clock in the morning, so not super early, from Rome to Dallas. Dallas to Omaha, back in our home airport by 6:30, home around 8:30. So that is the very, 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 very brief explanation and some highlights of what we'll be doing in Italy. There will be a lot of walking tours and a lot of exploring on your own. So there's nothing to bring some tennis shoes because they're going to get a workout in over 10 days. But it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll see some things that you won't ever go see again, probably, for a lot of people. Going on to the finances, the super fun part. Like I said, John and I worked together to get the airfare package as low as possible. We'll possibly back on. You went back to the itinerary, Tony. The airfare package, that is the exact cost on A of what our, if we scroll down. Nope, let's go to the agenda.
This one?
No, go back to the agenda and just scroll down. There it is. Airfare package, that was the exact cost per ticket, $1,686.95. We are the ones who purchased those tickets out of Bishop Keelan accounts. So when we talk about the payment plan here in a minute, you're going to see like a required plan, a suggested plan. That's because we're required to pay the travel company for the land package at certain dates. And then we just added in other dates to pay for the plane tickets to us. It's all coming, Bishop Keelan is making all of the payments to the travel company itself. So all checks and payments that you'll make throughout the next 10 months is to Bishop Keelan. We will deposit into one account and pay for everybody out of the same account for both the land and the airfare package. You'll see the land package price there was $21.90 through our travel company, which is Perform International. Our contact is a former choir director and specializes in Italian tours for choirs, so we got the right guy. He speaks Italian, and he's done 100 of these tours, and he'll be with us probably for a lot of this trip. That's the reason for the required plan. All payments due to Heelan are a week earlier than we have to make a payment to them, just so we can get it sent to them on time. So there are 2 different total prices. The student price is currently $3,875, so just a little bit cheaper than the $4,000 that has been advertised. That's because for the students, we've done a lot of fundraising opportunities the last year, and we'll continue to do so this year. So we've taken out a couple of the out-of-pocket extra expenses for students. That way they don't have to carry around and remember $100 for this, and $80 for this, and $50 for this while in Italy. So the main thing this covers right now compared to the chaperones, it covers the gratuity, because every person is expected to pay about $100 for gratuity for the tour guides and bus drivers, and the charter buses, which are to and from the airports in the States to Omaha and back. And then the chaperones, because the students did most of the fundraising, the chaperone price in Missouri River Choral Society singers and those, it's $4,000 even, because that does not cover the gratuities and the cost of the bus. Some of the additional expenses are listed below. These are the stuff that is not included in the packages listed above. The passport, you need to get a passport if you've not done so already. Travel insurance. We're working with Perform International right now to get a group rate for good travel insurance, so we will send that out to you. Don't go buy your own yet, but we will need to get travel insurance in case something happens. The trip gets canceled, we want our money back. That's a lot of money to lose. And then various meals throughout the trip. Every day while we're in Italy, breakfast is included at the hotel, the all-continental breakfast. And then every dinner is a group dinner that is also factored into the price. The lunches, some will be included, some might not be. It kind of depends where we are and what is available. So those might be some things that you have to bring money for, and then meals at the airport are currently not included at this time. Again, once we have the finalized itinerary, once we actually start making reservations at thing, when the travel company does, we'll have a better understanding of which lunches and how many lunches we'll have to pay for when we're there. I know we will continue to raise a lot of money, the students will, with all the extra fundraisers we're doing throughout the rest of the year. And as we make money into the general account, not the personal fundraising accounts, we will try to reduce some of those meals. Like we'll try to pay for as many of those meals as we can, and we'll try to pay for the travel insurance. Anything that we can pay for, we will through that fundraising, if that makes sense. Going forward, I've never seen it before. The ETIS, or the travel visa. A handful of you have emailed me about that, a lot of people emailed me about that. Europe and a lot of countries is probably going to start to require a visa to travel from America. However, this is not something we're worried about. I talked to the travel company, and it's a very, very, very easy process to get this ETIS. It takes less than 5 minutes. You go to a website, you type in your name, social security number, a couple things, and then within 30 minutes, you're like, here you go, and there it is. And it costs like $8. So nothing to stress about. We will all be granted, unless you all have really shaky past and histories that I don't know about. But we should all be good to go there, so do not panic when you see the word visa is required to Italy. We will be okay, according to Perform International. Deposit and payment. There's you can go to the payment plan now, Tony, if you want to go over there. I'll send this out to all of you. It was in an earlier email as well. So here is what I mean by the required versus suggested. So the bolded ones that say required, those are kind of non-negotiable, because on that following Monday after that, John and I are going to write a large check to Perform International to pay for all of our payments that are due at that time. Okay, so those are the ones we have to have the money in our account before we write the check, because we're going to be making payments of tens of thousands of dollars, which doesn't currently sit in the account. And then the suggested payment plans, those basically just help pay for the airfare prices, which we have purchased, and can be a little bit more flexible on when we receive those payments. As long as they're paid by May, we're good. So we can get a refund on most of those for a longer period of time. And then at the end, if you suggested, you'll have less to pay at the end. If you do the suggested payment plan, $675 should be left if you're a student, $800 chaperone, and then the required only payment plan, a much larger payment, over double. So the suggested payment plan spreads it out a little bit nicer. When you pay, we prefer checks. We prefer checks. It's just easier to keep track of than wads of cash. And we're also going to ask, for those who've been in the program for a long time, a lot of I always say just bring a check or cash in the choir room, turn it into the lockbox, and we're good to go. We're asking this year for all things in the choir department. We're just going to have the first Friday of every month as a payment day. Because this is now a lot more money than we're used to dealing with. And we want to make sure there's a receipt for every single payment that comes through our doors, and make sure that you have the proper tracking of all that money to make sure that nothing's getting lost or put into the wrong account, or going places we don't know where it's going. So we're being a little extra safe this year. So please, going forward, do not send on a random Monday cold spray to my office and hands me $500 cash. That's just a recipe for me putting it in my pocket and having a nice dinner. So please do not do that. We're going to prefer check. We will take cash if that's the only option, but we prefer checks. We do not have credit card options at this time. For the first initial deposit, you can turn that in after this meeting. This is the first time you can turn it in. If you want to do that, you're going to walk out the auditorium doors, take a left, there's a table, and Tony and Christy Frable and Jeremy Malinowski will be ready to accept your money and give you a receipt to make that deposit. The deposit, and then the other time period is tomorrow from CT, so homeroom time, which happens at like 2:40-ish to 4 p.m., so after school. Tomorrow's another time where you can send your child or stop in yourself and make that payment, and we'll have people there, again, ready to give you a receipt and accept that money. Again, this has to be turned in tomorrow. That is the way to commit to this trip officially, because we have to make this first payment. Our first payment is due a week from tomorrow, which means we have to send it on Monday or Tuesday to make sure that they get it. So please, 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 if you're planning on going, get this in tomorrow, because if you wait a couple weeks, we can't guarantee that we can add you in. Aiden. So a lot of students in Corral have what's called a personal fundraising account, which we started last year, which has given the students the opportunity to raise money specifically for this trip, but for any choir trips. This was the main reason for it, of course. All you need to do with the personal fundraising account money, if you want to stop in and get a receipt, just the same way you say, I'd like to transfer from my personal fundraising. It's on the same spreadsheet that we keep track of everything. So if Aiden goes, I would like to transfer the deposit, $300, out of my personal fundraising account. And we'll do the bookkeeping for that, and you'll be good to go. Another way you can do that is you can, if you're a parent, send me an email. So I believe I have $200 in my student's account. I would like to transfer that to my daily balance, and we will take care of that. I will print that email and keep it in my records, and then that way we know, and I'll email you a receipt for that, just to make sure you know how it works. And then let's say you use it for a deposit, but then you gain another $500 for some awesome fundraiser down the road, then you just use that money again in the same way. Okay? I think what makes most sense and is going to require the least amount of payments is to wait until closer to the end of the year and then just transfer all of the money you have towards your remaining balance. Instead of making a payment right now, and then after the popcorn fundraiser, making another payment with your money, and after the annual fundraiser, making another payment with the fundraising money. So I would encourage you, for paperwork reasons and just convenience for all of us, to wait towards the end and just make one large payment, whatever you have left in your account. That's how that works. Refund policy. The deposit is the only thing that is non-refundable. That was on the very first email I sent about this. I'm pretty sure I said it was refundable. And that was honestly just a mistake on my part. I read it wrong, so I apologize for that. So the $300 deposit is non-refundable. Every payment for the next couple of months up until February 2nd is refundable. So if you make $1,800 worth of payments to Reform International, then you will get $1,500 of that back if you back out before February 22nd. And then after that, like each month, it becomes less and less you can get back. So I think after February 22nd, you can only get back like 500, and then March it's 800, and then April it's 2,000 or something along those lines. It'll be also highlighted in one of your packets that you'll receive. And then May 1st is basically you no longer get a refund. You can pay $4,000. So don't back out for May 1st, please. That'd be a real bummer for all of us. Any questions about money and payment plans, how that works? Again, the important thing is that Colton Barker's going to get his feet off my chair. And then the other important thing is that you're only going to make payments on the first Friday, or on the payment plan that you will all receive. It's just going to be easiest for bookkeeping purposes. All parents, students, and chaperones have a handful of forms that you'll need to fill out, and I'm trying to do these as early as possible. The reason I'm scared of forms is because last year, when we were going on Corral tour to Chicago, the day before, I got contacted by an insurance company. I was like, "Do you have these forms?" And I did not know I was supposed to have those forms, so they told me I couldn't go a day before the trip. And then we made it work, and I frantically got all of you who remember that to sign forms in 24 hours, and we made it happen. I'm trying to get this done as soon as possible. That way they can't tell me we can no longer go to Italy on June 3rd, because that was maybe the scariest moment of my life. So all forms will have a paper copy. A couple of them are already at the front door, so you grab them as you walk in, I hope. If not, grab them on your way out. Those are the ones that go to our insurance company, Catholic Mutual. They're really great to work with, and I now know exactly what forms you need way in advance. So as soon as you get those filled out, you can turn those forms into me at any time. Just have to send it to school with your child, and I'll have a binder with all of those forms in it, separated by kid, as well as a Google Drive with a scanned copy of all that That way we're in Italy, I have both options, and Dr. Flannery will have access to both of those as well. So those forms, the students need the following things at this time. You need a health form / waiver form. That's the one over there. It's two-sided. Those are the two forms. I put them on the same thing. So you should have a copy of that. I believe it says like student form at the top of both sides. That's a student form. Then every person who is traveling on the trip has to create a Perform International account. You do not make payments on this account. It won't let you. It says the total cost of the trip is $0. I wish that were true. But we do not pay them any money from individuals. We'll just make bulk payments. And I'll show you what that website looks like. Tony, if you want to go to the second to last tab, there it is, that one. So this will be on a link that's sent to you. You click it, and it's very easy to register. It takes less than 5 minutes. Tony, if you just click the green select button right there, and something will hopefully come up. Everyone's going to be in a double occupancy. In Italy, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Flannery, but 90% of hotel rooms, if not more, have 2 twin or full-size beds in it. It's not like America where we have 2 queen beds and it's 4 per room. It's 2 per room in Italy. That's just the way it is. So everyone will click select 1 for double occupancy. If you want single occupancy, I think that is an option. I believe it's $400 more. Okay, I believe it's $400 more. Tony, you want to go and select 1 land-only package, double occupancy, and then click continue, pay full amount of $0. And then you just fill out this 1 page of forms with name, email. Tony, if you scroll down a little bit to look at like the passport information, it's going to ask you for your passport number and then a digital copy of your passport. Those are not required. Okay? They're eventually going to be required for us, but you do not have to have that on file with Perform International. It'll let you leave them blank. It doesn't have an asterisk by it. Okay, so just like that passport number. When I made mine, I didn't have mine on me, so I did not make it, but I made an account. So you'll fill out all of that, and then go to the bottom, and select your voice part if you're a singer. If you're not a singer, don't select that, please. 2 separate beds is probably what most people are going to want, because that's what is most common. Dietary restrictions, roommate request. Again, if you have a roommate you want to room with, go ahead and request them. It's only 1 person. And then you'll write and accept the cancellation conditions, which I've already listed for you, and then also listed right there if you click the read more button. And then once you click the continue to payment section, it'll take you to the next page, which will say there is no payment at this time. And then you're done. It's really easy. You shouldn't need any like insurance cards or things like that. It should be all information that you have in your head, as long as you remember your email and middle name. So everyone, and that's parents, parents that are going, so chaperones, students, Missouri Rifle Society directors, you all need to make a Perform International account. If you're taking your children, you'll need one for you, your wife, and every kid that's going. So there'll be 5 different forms that you fill out on there. And that's the Perform International account. So again, I ask that you do that as soon as possible, and then eventually we'll have like checkpoints, which we'll talk about. Yes, Steve.
So when we fill this out, it's going to be the student's email and so forth.
It is the person going on the trip. Yep, it is the person going on the trip. By the time we go to Italy, and again, I'll send out just like a general forms checklist, because I know this is a lot to remember right now, and I'll send out this is what you need to do from all these specific things, and you can check them off as we go. But prior to traveling, we are going to need a piece of paper with a copy of your passport and insurance cards. We're going to need that to have on file in case the passport gets lost or a medical emergency happens. That way we have it. Okay, so we're going to ask that. That's for chaperones, that's for students, that's for RCF seniors. Okay, everyone is going to have to give us a scanned copy of your passport and insurance cards that we will keep. No one else will get it. I won't sell your identity to anybody, I promise, unless they give me a lot of money. And then, yeah, so you need a copy on file in case the passport gets lost or medical emergency occurs. And Tony, you go back to the agenda. Chaperone form. Chaperones, you actually have a few more things you have to fill out. This is what we were missing last year, the day before Chicago happened. All chaperones, people who travel with our students, have to have a couple of certain things to make sure your background check and everything looks good. The first thing is virtues training, which is something that all Catholic schools employees have to go through, but we have to go through like a 9-hour seminar Yours is like an hour of videos that answer some really easy questions, and then you're virtually trained as a chaperone. Again, I'll send out a link to that exact website that you need with the information, with screenshots of what you need to click and break it down. It takes about an hour. I know that because I did it for my parents from my desk last year before I went to Chicago. And then the thing that takes a little bit longer is a background check. And there's a specific website they want to use. So again, I'll send that to you. You fill out a form. It doesn't take very long, and that takes 2 days or so to get like, you're all good. So all chaperones, students do not have to do that. We assume that students don't need a background check. But that's just to make sure that every adult on this trip is good to go and cleared through the church to be with our children. And then chaperones, you also make a Perform International account. You have a chaperone form, which is up there on the music stand, just one piece of paper, and it says at the top, chaperone form. Just basically a signature saying that you're going to do your best and make sure not to do anything that would hurt Bishop Heelan or anyone on the trip. And then chaperones, we also ask that we have all of your passport and insurance cards as well on a scanned piece of paper. Okay? And if it's easier, I know a lot of people are not putting, which for good reason, like sending passport information and email or something, please just bring me a sheet of paper and I'll put it in a safe document. I'll put it in a document and put it in a safe. And not send any of your information in an email. Those are all the forms that are going to be needed over the next couple of months. And again, my goal is to have all these done in the next couple of months. At least long before we leave. That way we can just not worry about that going forward. One thing that I've received questions about that I want to touch on real fast. If you are a parent who is going as a chaperone, you have the right to take your child away from the group on the trip. That is right as their parent. We just ask that you don't miss any performances, right? Because we want to make sure that the singing is not affected by absence of people. If it's one person, it might not be a huge deal, but if all of a sudden 9 people are missing the same concert, then on all bases, then now we have an issue. So we ask that you do not miss any performances. Out of the 8 days we are actually in Italy, we have 5 performances. There are 3 days that we don't have any performances. And so, yes.
Will you be able to stream those?
I'm not 100% sure, but we will try. We will try to stream those. If we don't stream them, we will record any of them that we can. And you have a link in your email right now to the BHCS Arts and Entertainment that is ran by the man, the myth, the legend, Larry Carta. And you need to go to that page and subscribe, because that has every choir and band and show choir and more performance from the last, I don't know how many years, handful of years, and we will continually post those throughout the years to come. So I would subscribe to that page so you can stay up to date on all the latest Bishop Heelan music. So yeah, you're not missing performances, and then the other thing, and this is just important in general throughout this whole experience, is communicate. If you're going to take your child for a day when we're in Rome, and you want to go see the Colosseum longer than we're going to be there, and you want to go do this for longer, or you want to go to this different city, that's fine. Just please let us know in advance and not the day of, because obviously organization is going to be huge for this trip for this many people, and safety and is the #1 priority on this trip. Right? We just need to know who every person is, so please don't just take your child and run and then we don't know where you are. If you choose to go away from the group, stay along in Italy, go do your own thing, again, that's fine, but we're not going to I'm not going to go to the Sistine Chapel, I'm going to do something else where you're not going to get a refund for your Sistine Chapel ticket. It's just a lot of extra work. So the price will stay the same no matter if you take your children away from the trip or not. If that makes sense. All right, that's all I have on my agenda. What questions do we have about anything Italy? Anything? No questions? Yeah, Gina. Currently, I have to look at my spreadsheet, but I think the current roster is that we have 46 members of chorale going, which is awesome. Way more than I thought we were going to be able to go. I think there's 20-ish chaperones, and then 20-ish Missouri Choral Society singers, and then 3 or 4 directors. Yeah, so I think we're currently at 93 people total on the trip, which is really incredible. What other questions? Yeah.
What airlines are you taking over there?
We are taking American Airlines. We got really lucky. We called them on the right day and got some. That 1686 was about $500 cheaper per ticket than any other offer we got, any other bid we got. Every other company came back and said it was going to be $2,200, $2,300, $2,500 per ticket. So we're thankful for 16.
So do you and John get all the flight miles then?
Yes,
Sweet.
just saying. Yeah. It's okay on one check. She has to do on parent student payments. That's fine, just like make it clear on the check that it's for both of you, and that will be fine. And we'll give you a receipt that matches that in our spreadsheet. Yep. And you can make, like, if you just want to get the bulk of the payment done tonight, that's totally fine too. You can pay more than the suggested amount. That is, you can't pay less than that, I'm sorry. But you can pay more if you don't want to worry, if you don't want to worry about making a monthly payment for 6 months and you want to pay half the trip right now. Great, so let's work for all of us. Anything else? Questions? All right, I guess I'll just close by saying thank you for making this happen for your children. I've been fortunate enough to travel abroad twice, one for an education trip to Sweden and Finland, and once on a choir tour to Tokyo and other parts of Japan. And without a doubt, the two most incredible experiences of my life. I'll never forget those memories I made and the music I performed at each different place in Japan and what I learned in Finland about the Japan. I just will never, ever forget that. So thank you for making the sacrifice, or attempting to make the sacrifice to make this happen for your child, because it's, it's likely that they will not get the chance to sing in St. Peter's Basilica again. And that truly is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So thank you all for being here, and I'm excited to be going to this, and even more excited to go to Italy. That's it. Again, you can make payments out that door to the left.
You better take your post. Quit, and quit your post when you're properly relieved.
They can't make payments on there.